Intentionality versus drifting in the era of clarity. The prologue, the current of the unseen. There is a specific kind of vertigo that comes with standing in the middle of a life you didn't choose. It starts as a quiet hum in the back of the mind, a feeling that you are moving but not arriving. We spend our days checking boxes, scrolling through faces, and engaging in the delicate dance of maybe. We tell ourselves we are exploring. We tell ourselves we are keeping our options open. But if we look closer, we find that we aren't exploring at all. We are drifting. Drifting is the most dangerous state of the human soul, because it feels like movement. It feels like progress. You are going on dates, you are having late-night conversations, you are sharing space and time. But like a boat without a rudder, you are at the mercy of the current. You are waiting for the tide to decide where you belong. As we breathe in the air of this new spring in 2026, something is changing. The fog is lifting. The collective exhaustion of situationships and ambiguity has reached its breaking point. A new frequency is being broadcast across the dating landscape, a frequency of clarity, of demand, and of profound unapologetic intentionality. Today, we ask the question that defines the trajectory of your happiness. Are you the captain of your heart, or are you just along for the ride? The anatomy of the drift. Why do we drift? Psychologically, drifting is a defense mechanism. It is the ego's way of avoiding the pain of the no. When we remain in a situationship, that gray, undefined space where we have the benefits of intimacy without the weight of commitment, we think we are protecting ourselves. We tell ourselves that by not demanding clarity, we are staying chill. We are being low maintenance. In reality, we are operating from a place of profound fear. We are afraid that if we ask for what we truly want, the answer will be, "I can't give that to you." And we would rather have a half-truth than a whole rejection. This is what psychologists call ambiguity tolerance. In the past, we were taught that high ambiguity tolerance was a sign of maturity. We were told to go with the flow. But the flow doesn't always lead to the ocean. Sometimes, the flow leads to a drain. Drifting is a slow-motion theft of your most precious resource, your time. Every month spent in a maybe is a month stolen from your yes. We have lived through an era where situationships were seen as a sophisticated alternative to commitment. But in 2026, we are realizing that a situationship is just a relationship that lacks the courage to exist. The Spring Revolution, the 2026 shift. Spring has always been the season of reflection. It is the time when the ice of the winter psyche begins to melt, revealing the soil beneath. In this spring of 2026, the reflection has turned into a revolution. 64% of singles are now proudly labeling their relationship status. The complicated era is dying. The "let's see where this goes" mantra is being replaced by "this is where I am going. Are you coming?" This is the clarity movement. It is the realization that ambiguity is not a luxury, it is a tax. We are seeing a massive shift in vibe coding. The most attractive quality in 2026 is no longer the enigmatic stranger or the hard-to-get enigma. The new attractive is direction. It is the person who knows their value, knows their vision, and isn't afraid to state it on day one. We are moving from a culture of discovery through drifting to a culture of creation through intentionality. The psychology of intentionality. What does it mean to be intentional? In the mystical traditions, intentionality is the act of collapsing the wave function. It is taking the infinite possibilities of the universe and focusing them into a single, physical reality. Psychologically, intentionality is nervous system integration. It is when your internal desires, your spoken words, and your outward actions are all in perfect alignment. Most people live in a state of fragmentation. They desire a partner, but they speak as if they don't care, and they act by staying in relationships that don't serve them. This fragmentation creates internal static. It makes you vibrate at a frequency of confusion. When you become intentional, you kill the static. Intentionality is the master key. When you show up to a date, and you are clear about your desire for a long-term partner, you aren't being intense. You are being efficient. You are broadcasting a signal that only a matching receiver can pick up. You are allowing the wrong people to filter themselves out of your life before they can take root. The power of hopeful energy. If intentionality is the engine, hope is the fuel. In 2026, hopeful has become the top emotional keyword in the dating lexicon. But this isn't the passive hope of a child waiting for a gift. This is radical hope. Radical hope is the belief that a healthy, clear, and vibrant connection is not just possible, it is inevitable provided you stay true to the code. Drifting is fueled by cynicism. It says nothing ever works out anyway, so why try? Intentionality is fueled by hope. It says, because I know what I am worth, I am willing to wait for, and work for, what matches me. When you lead with hopeful energy, your charisma, changes. You no longer attract the vampires of ambiguity who feed on your uncertainty. You attract the architects of clarity who are looking to build something lasting. Hope is the frequency that turns a date into an investment. The death of the situationship. We must speak plainly about the situationship. It is the limbo of the modern heart. It is a relationship where the vibe code is permanently set to maybe. In a situationship, you are always on call. You are giving the depth of your soul to someone who only has you in their shallow folder. This creates a psychological state of chronic unsafeness. Your nervous system never feels fully settled because the contract is never signed. The 2026 shift is about the reclamation of the label. We used to think labels were restrictive. Now, we realize labels are protective. A label is a boundary. It says this is what this is. This is where we stand. By proudly labeling your status, you are creating a container where intimacy can actually grow. You cannot grow an oak tree in a plastic cup. You need soil. You need depth. You need a yes that is as loud as your no. The practical ritual, becoming the captain. So, how do we stop drifting? How do we become the captain of our own spring? It requires a reset of your internal software. Here are the 3 protocols of the intentional heart. First, the audit of the current. Look at your life. Who are you drifting with? If you have been in a maybe for more than 3 months, you are no longer exploring, you are stuck. The first step to intentionality is the clean cut. You must clear the gray space to make room for the grounded space. Second, the clarity command. Practice the clarity command. It sounds like this: I'm really enjoying our time, but I'm at a place where I'm looking for something with a clear direction. Is that something you're open to? Do not fear the answer. If the answer is no, you haven't lost a partner, you've gained your time back. The clarity command is a superpower. Use it early, and use it often. Third, the vow of the vessel. Make a vow to yourself that you will no longer accept ambiguity as a substitute for intimacy. Understand that being alone is a high-status state compared to being half-loved. When you value your vessel, you stop letting just anyone board it. The radiance of the decided. There is nothing more attractive than a decided person. When you stop drifting, your energy changes from a vague cloud to a laser beam. You become a high-resolution human. People can sense when you are no longer available for the games. They can sense that your time is expensive. This doesn't push the right people away, it draws them in with a magnetic force. The architects are looking for blueprints. The captains are looking for harbors. When you provide clarity, you become the most desirable destination in the landscape. The epilogue, the new shore. The spring of 2026 is not just a season of weather. It is a season of will. The era of the situationship is over. The era of the drift is receding with the tide. You have a choice. You can stay in the maybe, hoping that the current will eventually deposit you on a shore of happiness. Or you can pick up the oars. You can demand clarity. You can lead with hope. You can proudly label your heart and your life. It will feel terrifying at first to say exactly what you want. But on the other side of that fear is a life that is actually yours. No more drifting. No more settling for crumbs. The water is deep, but you are the captain. Pause for a second and ask yourself, where are we really going in this relationship? And be real, what situationship pattern are you finally walking away from this season?